Hey, good morning, good afternoon, wherever the time zone finds you. Phil Korecki here with DXC. I'm the sector lead technologist for Insurance in the Americas, hosting a Thursday Tech Talk with Digital Fineprint. Helping to present today is Faisal Siddiqui with DXC. Faisal?
Thanks, Phil. This is Faisal Siddiqui. I'm Chief Technologist at DXC, responsible for innovation and building out ecosystems. And we're talking with Eric today. So, Eric?
Hi, everybody. Eric Abrahamson, founder and CEO of Digital Fineprint. We're an
The perils of an internet connection. You get to look at Eric's handsome face while he reconnects. What we're going to do today is we're going to discuss with Digital Fineprint what one of our invitational winners' experience was like. How'd that process go for them? How do they see the Insurtech fintech industry heading? And in all honesty, we're hoping to learn from Eric some pieces where we can improve in support of our Insurtech partners and Insurtech newcos, and really expanding our own digital platform and capabilities. So we're really looking forward to the conversation once we get Eric back. Topics that we're going to touch on in addition to our partnership here will be our DXC Invitational model. We have another one that'll be coming up in Asia over the next couple of months. And Developer Central. Actually, Faisal, while we're waiting for Eric, maybe you want to give a little context on what Developer Central is, and then we'll get his feedback on how it'll help what we're doing and consumed by Insurtechs themselves.
Yeah, happy to, Phil. And I think that we'll have a chance to talk with Eric about them as well. Eric was a part of our DXC Invitational in North America, and it's one of the winners, in fact. And a big thing that we were doing with DXC Invitational that you and Phil and I have been trying to promote for some time is to engage with external partners. A good way that we know that we can do that simply is from a technology perspective. These are, in fact, tech companies working with us as a tech company. So that's where Developer Central comes in. We have treated Developer Central as the entry point to access our technology capabilities, our services, and our platform. And hey, here's Eric. So Eric, you were doing your intro. You kind of froze there. Could you try again, please?
Absolutely. Apologies for that. Just checking that sound is okay now.
Yeah, looks great.
And we're back.
Oh no.
Such is technology life. So Faisal, we were talking about the Developer Central and how we're using it as we wait for Eric to reconnect. There we go.
Okay.
Eric, one more time, sir. Well, we've been running so smooth with some of these. We're doomed and destined for one. So Developer Central, what is it that it's doing for us? Won't hesitate one last time. Eric, are we good? Okay. Faisal, why don't you continue on the Developer Central bits for a little bit and while he stabilizes.
Eric to just step in and interrupt us as we're having this conversation. So Eric, if you can hear us, let's see if you can step in with your intro. Otherwise, we'll continue. Developer Central is really our way of opening up our technology and those of our partners, such as Digital Fineprint, to our internal developers, to our partners, and potentially to our customers. It's really a collaborative way of interacting with each other.
And what's the construct like, Faisal? I mean, it's obviously not something just completely open. Are we providing catalogs, security, entry points, other elements to kind of make this a trusted platform for development, if you would, as we look to move with our partners to testing, through development, and ultimately through production and the expansion of our ecosystem?
Yes, Phil, we're certainly very concerned about making sure that everybody gets access to services, capabilities, and data for which they're authorized. And that is the underlying construct for Developer Central as well. At heart, it is a developer portal, just as you would see for, say, with a trusted partner like Microsoft or Google. Having their developer portals has been a great accelerator for us to be able to develop our own capabilities. And those are partners like Eric and others who've been working with us. We do take it very seriously. And two things that really we should bring up is, number one, that with Developer Central, we are making available access to APIs that give you secure access controlled reach into our services behind the scenes. That means based on who you are, you may have a different set of APIs in the catalog, different code samples that you may be able to see, and in fact, different data that you could interact with or produce. The other thing, of course, is that behind the scenes, the services that we make available behind these APIs are, in fact, somewhat sanitized versions of the actual live data. So we don't actually make those available. These are essentially developer tools for us to quickly develop our solutions, bring them to market, and then be able to deploy them into production.
Well, Faisal, are we using our Developer Central experiences, right? That's a global 24/7 type of an operation. And we've got partners like Digital Fineprint in London, MapSite in Australia, and others who are connecting to Developer Central to bring their products and the integration to our suite. What are we doing around data? Data residency, other compliance issues. Are we proving out the benefits of, say, the conversational and RESTful APIs, how that supports data provisioning and protection as well as sovereignty?
Yeah, we essentially had to reimagine how we considered data being applicable. Our reality is that we are a global company. We have customers all over the world. We have partners all over the world. So we take data sovereignty very seriously. We can certainly elaborate on that, but I'd love to give Eric an opportunity to step in. Let's see if we can.
Hopefully, Google Hangouts wants to give him the same opportunity. Eric, are you with us, sir?
It seems that way. Finally back. Tried it on 2 laptops and 2 phones now. So if you can hear me and see me, please make a thumbs up to the technology that works. Hey, amazing. There we go. Hi, everybody. Maybe I can make a quick intro. Eric Abrahamson, founder and CEO of Digital Fineprint. We're an Insurtech startup based in London, UK. And what we do is to analyze data about small businesses. We do commercial insurance that we display through our SaaS platform that we call the DFP Risk Atlas. We've been around for 2 years. 20 people on the team have been raising $3 million in funding. And recently we won the prize for Best Insurtech at the DXC Invitational. So today I hope we can talk about our journey there, what we think about the overall open development ecosystem, and the plans we have for the future. Apologies again for technical mishaps. We don't make any video conferencing systems. It's going to be my next startup. And
when he comes back, Eric will finish telling us the story, how he's going to do a video conferencing startup next. So hopefully what Eric will touch on when he gets back is, Eric, are you there? I see you moving and connected.
No, we can't.
Audio lost. Okay. So Eric will highlight, obviously what Digital Fineprint does and why they were attractive to us from the invitational perspective. We're clearly looking to utilize Digital Fineprint and extending our own digital capabilities and bringing them in play. But we're excited about the capabilities that they bring and frankly, the innovation that the Insurtech side of the house brings to us. And as we've discussed in earlier tech talks, we've come to the understanding that, to be an entrepreneur and an enterprise brings certain levels of challenges. And, we'll always have day jobs, Faisal and I, but at the same point, we're being given an entrepreneurial hat and a bucket to work from. And how do we maximize that? What we've chosen to do is focus on a select innovation, Insurtechs, fintechs, working with them with a very focused speed to partnership goal. They're already in market, as are we. So that's not the real driver. It's about how quickly can we develop our relationship and get them integrated into our offering. So, we have both business and technological elements. And Faisal, you were talking around the Dev Central and what that's doing for us internally. How is that enabling the relationships with the Insurtechs as we start taking this forward?
Yeah, let's see if Eric can chime in on just the services we have available to them.
Eric?
Otherwise, I'd be happy to take that. So really, what resonates with me there, Phil, is your mention of entrepreneurship within a large corporation like DXC is in fact enviable, and yeah, it's not always possible to have that level of flexibility, but I think we've been able to carve out that opportunity with the DXC Invitational. It essentially started with a couple of guys, you and me, putting our heads together and saying, how do we streamline this? And Eric, we see you, but we can't hear you.
We're just gonna have to rely on him chiming in when he's ready, Faisal. So go ahead, continue.
Okay. This was exactly the spirit in which we developed the developer portal as well, which we refer to as Developer Central. A couple of guys got together, maybe it was a few more than a couple, and said, what exactly is it that folks like Eric and the Mapside guys, what is it that they need from us, and how do we simplify the process of reaching them? Up till now, what we were trying to do usually was to publish an API, probably headless and an API gateway, cross all the T's and dot the I's, make sure everything's clean and secure. But ultimately, we were relying on out-of-band methods, maybe sharing.
We can certainly hear you now, Eric.
Okay, so a swagger strike over email isn't the approach we would take when we're engaging with an insurtech. We needed something better, and so what we ended up doing genuinely was to say, let's rethink how we position ourselves. We went from one extreme where everything was super secret and siloed and protected to say that we really want to change the default position to be completely open, and then we selectively choose what we want to conceal, what we want to hide, what we want to protect. So we were surprised to see that there was a lot that we found that we could share without revealing things that we ought to protect, without leaking intellectual property. And to their credit, all of our supporters and our sponsors at the exec level within DXC were extremely supportive. And that's how we arrived at where we are today with Developer Central. And the message, I have to tell you, Phil, is genuinely resonating with our customers. In fact, I think you had these kinds of experiences as well.
Well, yeah, actually, we were presenting in the financial services sector earlier this week, and they're looking to take a digital journey. And what's fascinating is the concept of a digital platform, which I think we recognize as being key to success these days, is resonating across organizations. And frankly, how do they build their own partnerships and ecosystem? So there's an interest in the concepts of a Developer Central built on top of a digital platform, and not simply a secular one like we started with, but much more broadly. So do we have Eric locked in?
Suspense.
Yeah, emotionless suspense, unfortunately. The conversations, though, Faisal, and it's fascinating because this is fairly recent that I'm starting to see this level of awareness broadly for platform, for ecosystem, and for a development mechanism above it. The goal to be able to expand your own capability, be that as a provider such as ourselves or as a client, is really growing. And the need to expand your delivery and development capabilities, your innovation lab capacity, if you would, has been significant. And so that they're frankly fascinated by how we might help them deploy a platform and then a development central of their own on top of that, or in maybe even a better sense, how do they consume one? And obviously we're not there yet with our own platform as we roll it out, but there's a lot of fascination and interest in how that can be applied in a much broader fashion than we're currently doing. So I think even beyond maybe what we had envisioned originally from what that could be.
The fact that we're not there yet, Phil, doesn't really bother me too much. In fact, I embrace the opportunity to involve our partners, on our customers, and our internal development folks early on in the process. I think I'm much more open to the critique that I received saying these are all the things you missed. than to get to the point where I build a lot of stuff, make a lot of assumptions, and then realize that I got a lot of things wrong.
Well, look, we've used these calls before to kind of, be open kimono on what we've worked with and what hasn't worked. What were some of the observations that you received, or the areas that people said, hey, have you considered this, or this needs a reparation or fix?
Yeah, I think in the spirit of open source, it's no secret that I am deeply involved in DXC's open source initiatives. For the past 4 or 5 years, I, along with a bunch of very dedicated volunteers, have been running the DXC open source program. And although open source is where our passion lies, the bread and butter response to the idea of open source is that we can truly benefit from the open source way of working internally within the confines of the enterprise. And that's where InnerSource comes in. What we're trying to do is take a combination of collaboration inside of DXC and then collaboration outside with our partners and customers as the basis for receiving and responding to feedback regarding things like Developer Central. So along those lines, Developer Central, as it stands today, is based off a fork of an open source project. We are making some modifications with the intention of contributing them back into the open source community. And the really nice thing about that is that our contribution, whether it's accepted or not, becomes open source. We will treat both the services available from within Developer Central and the Developer Portal tool as things that we will ourselves receive feedback and receive responses and contributions to. So the cycle continues. So this is I had not intended this, but this is in fact a promotional opportunity for our open source GitHub organization. It's github.com/DXC-technology. And that's where Developer Central will go, and where they'll receive feedback and provide incremental improvements.
Excellent. So, let's tie this back together. We started this whole conversation today to talk to one of our DXC Invitational winners. I don't believe that, and correct me if I'm wrong, the DXC Invitational and the Dev Center were tied together. They were separate paths that have kind of come together as we've seen fruition around our relationships with the InsurTechs. So how did that play to the Invitational came in? And I know we talk about how much you and I have done with the Invitational, but giving credit where credit is due, it started first in Australia with the Springboard. What was different about the America's Invitational that matured from what we saw in Australia and the value that we had with our winners?
The underlying objectives of the DXC Invitational as compared to the Australia-based Springboard event and others that we have been running for some time is that we wanted to make it repeatable. We wanted, if the next time we wanted to run a startup engagement program, that we wouldn't have to start from scratch. There's lots of not that interesting things in there. Sometimes it's a matter of legal contracts, which I'm assuming is interesting to somebody, but it's not to me as a technologist. What I really wanted to do was to put those aside, get those working in place, and just stamp out templates of the same thing so that I could really focus on the tech behind the engagement process to actually build stuff and sell stuff. How do I do that? That brings us to the next thing. And that's where the genesis of Developer Central came from. We wanted to be able to streamline the process of developers working with developers. And that's where it started. I think it was genuinely a part of the Invitational as well, which coincidentally here's a nice visual, a picture from, I think it's all of us up here, right? In fact, a picture of Eric as well. Eric, during the Invitational pitch session in our Phoenix conference, was not able to attend. I think he said he was in Hong Kong, but they were able to present remotely. So Phil, what's your recollection of that?
No, that's exactly what the recollection was. This is our the keynote session for our closing day from our conference, where we had all of the finalists and obviously the winners as well on stage with us. Very interesting session, of course, and a lot of interest from the clients about the direction. as we've headed down this path, Faisal, I think what has been eye-opening for me is this concept of the new code, the new tech, and the InsurTech specifically. You know, as we've been engaged in some of the conferences and had more reason to do introspection on the industry and what they're doing, I have been pleasantly amazed at the sheer number of InsurTechs and how little relative overlap there is. This is a lot of unique innovation happening at the same time. You're not seeing 5 companies, 6 companies doing the same thing. If there's 10 companies, they're doing 9 different things, and the one that overlaps is being done differently. So it's an exciting time. And, you know, I think that we're seeing this proliferation of innovation in a dissimilar fashion than what we saw during the internet boom because of the cost of entry. You know, the ubiquitous bandwidth, the availability of AWS, Azure, Google as cloud platforms as a means to reach globally has really changed and taken away some number of hurdles in order for entry. What are you seeing that's kind of helped support this proliferation? And it's not just this industry, but obviously we're soaking one here a little bit more.
Yeah, across all industries. The key point that you made, Phil, was that the somewhat perhaps surprising lack of overlap, and that was even including the insight that we found that there was limited overlap with our own core services. The default behavior sometimes is to be protectionist, to say, I want to protect against the competition as a corporation such as DXC that makes core insurance services, treating startups or insurtechs as competitors, as being prominent in the healthcare industry, to treat health techs as competitors or fintechs for banking. Couldn't be further away from the truth. The reality is that these are valuable partners, and there's much more by way of augmenting our capabilities than competition. In fact, wouldn't you say that we were truly surprised by the things that qualified as insurtechs, fintechs, and health techs?
Well, yeah, I think we quickly throw out any perceived definition right away. You know, MapSite and others, location-based data systems, the locations of fire hydrants, right, and fire stations.
Yeah.
Elements that intuitively may not say, oh, that's a relative piece of information, but the truth is that we have an industry that's going to be a huge consumer of IoT data, that every element that helps to reduce risk or provide better assessment or value in the industry is of value to them. And so it's going to drive a lot of that. One of the things I think that's maybe interesting just occurred to me as we're talking, we hit elements on data earlier, residency, sovereignty, and so on. What is it that you're seeing? You know, I say it in the sense that all the InsurTechs that we've looked at, most of them were in a functional or data provisioning element. And what I haven't seen yet, and I know that Digital Flight Plan does some of this, where's the next step for consuming that data, analyzing it, and adding value to it? You know, the industry is going to struggle with how do we monetize IoT data at some point, and it already is. Yet that's an area that's going to be rich going forward. So where do you see some of the technological elements that you and I are exploring heading, and what we're going to do with them?
Yeah, I'm glad you bring this up, Phil, because this is truly where we as DXC come in. As an InsurTech, I'm not always going to be concerned about the broader problems of data sovereignty unless that happens to be the problem that I'm addressing. I'm not going to be concerned exclusively about security if that is not my core responsibility. Stitching together all of those capabilities and services, and then applying the broader concerns, bringing in the true collective capabilities across DXC, that's really where we become an enabler of those partnerships. What I'm really seeing is that we are have the flexibility and the opportunity to focus on the key value adds from partners, and then consolidate them all together, not as integration partners, but as enablers. And I think that really takes us to where we go next with the Invitational. I mean, I think we kind of laid the foundation, and all the things we're so excited about doing next.
Well, yeah, it's fair. I mean, Digital Fineprint, are an element of what we were just talking about, right? With their solution that takes social media information and data that's available and helps the SME algorithms to populate the forms, reduces the complexity, is an example of how the internet data and ultimately the Internet of Thing data is going to be brought together to speed a process, to make the targeting, if you would, and support of a consumer or potential customer's questions and process to become a client easier, as well as leveraging a standard API integration. So as we go forward, today we have two categories in our invitational, right? Something that is the extension to the system that brings a value, SureFlight being an example there, co-browsing solution that isn't a tightly coupled or integrated piece. And then Digital Fineprint, which is an API level of integration to bring that data back and forth. So do you see a need or perhaps a driver in the future which will evolve the number of categories that we're looking at or mature what we already have?
I think we kind of settled on a recipe that works, kind of breaking up into two categories: the services and the solutions of partners that either directly extend our digital insurance ecosystem or digital platforms, and those that somehow enhance it from the outside. Both of those work. I don't know what we will discover, but that's the fascinating thing about startup engagement, that they are opening up our imaginations to the things that are possible in ways that we certainly couldn't do ourselves. And I see that this is a nice segue into another tech talk that we intend to have with Surfly. And this is such an interesting co-browsing capability that we believe that can truly extend and enhance our own digital applications. But even more so, Phil, I'd like to get your thoughts about the future of the Invitational itself.
Well, look, just judging by the interests on both sides, actually all three sides, right? We have clients who want us to do more of this. They want us to in part bear the burden of the exploration and the assessment of who's capable in the Insurtech side of the house. We have the Insurtechs themselves who definitely want to partner with us. And just for anyone listening, we're open to all those discussions. What the Invitational does for us is it helps us bring a focus to a couple at a time, because it's unfair to try to boil the ocean when you have startups, when you have need. We want to get a couple right at a time and then expand, a couple right at a time and then expand. And then lastly, for us, it's a means to bring innovation in a fashion that while we have done it before, we can never do it at the breadth, right, that this brings. And there's an example of the People's Choice. Hazard Hub did a wonderful Shark Tank presentation at our conference, and the audience loved them. Yeah. And all four finalists are organizations we will work with. Yeah. But our two winners are those that we're focusing on to really get the word out faster, to give us more attention. And once those are complete, we're going to do that. So we've learned that we can be entrepreneur-like in a $16 billion plus organization. We've learned that the industry, actually all industries, have an interest in this kind of a model. And then lastly, we've learned that the Insurtech, fintechs themselves are far easier to work with than maybe we thought at the surface, right? Their size is different than ours. Their energy levels are fantastic. But the level of cooperation and well, frankly, friendship, if you would, has been fantastic and kind of eye-opening as we've done this forward. It's an exciting period of time and an approach to be taking.
All right. So I just want to put in a last-minute pitch before we close for the very next DXC Invitational, or at least a future one. What we're planning is to take the Invitational, continue going to different regions. And Phil, you and I have been helping to plan the Asia flavor of the DXC Invitational. The opportunity is to focus on the needs of our Asia-based customers, to talk about regional requirements, but also regional Insurtechs and fintechs. The fascinating thing was that we found the appetite from our customers was tremendous. and even those from our partners. So those of us, those of our customers, partners, and potential insurtechs that may be listening or hear the replay, we want you to be able to reach out to us. And the best way is through the contact through this Hangout, or to us individually at digitalinsurance@dxe.com. Back to you, Phil.
Oh, thank you, Faisal. Folks, our apologies for the technical difficulties today. I suspect we'll do another one with Digital Fineprint again sometime in the future. But for those who kind of sat through our explorations of Developer Central, the Invitational, and the role of innovation and insurtechs in the industry, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing everyone on our next Thursday Tech Talk.
Yeah, thanks.